Hey everybody, this is It My Motivation. Welcome to my space, my place, my time, my hour to shine. I guess if that's what you want to say. Anywho, so let's get into it. I titled this topic Understanding the Shift Life Has Levels. And I titled it that because I'm learning that life definitely has levels. And through everything that I've gone through in life, there has been a shift. So lately, I've been going through this major shift. Like I've been going through this major shift in what I feel and what I think and what is it that really matters to me. And I don't think that people quite understand that throughout the years, things that you value may change. Your values may change. When you were 10, you might value something. When you were 15, you valued something. And when you were 20, you had different values. So it just depends on what state you're in, like what situation you're in, where you are in life, and also where you're going in life. And so all of those things take a part in your shift and what you decide is the next step for your life or what's the next place for your life or it doesn't matter like what's happening. So I've been going through this shift and I've been going through this shift kind of like in a strange way because one minute I'll be shifting, the next minute I'll be distracted. And that happens. I was just speaking to a friend and I was telling her about some of my distractions. And then she reminded me that you can be a distraction to yourself. Like you can literally be a distraction to yourself. You can literally be a hindrance to yourself. And sometimes I think that we forget that. I think that we forget that we can distract ourselves from our next level. We always want to blame it on people around us, especially during a shift, during this process of I'm going to the next level or I'm ready for the next level. We always want to blame it on something else or somebody else or another situation. And a lot of times it could just be us. So I'm going through this shift in life and I'm starting to value different things. I'm starting to want to go to different places. I'm starting to want to entertain a different type of people. And I sent out a message to a couple of my close friends tonight. And I mean close friends, people that I feel I can tell my inner parts to and they don't judge me. Or I can tell my inner parts to and they're gonna give me a true statement, or they're just gonna listen, or they're gonna send a message back, keep doing what you're doing. I love you. So there's not a lot of people like that in this world that you can trust to tell your inner parts to, so make sure that you have good people around you that you can express what it is you feel. So I sent out a message to them. And in some parts of the message, I was telling them basically is that I want more. I want more. And I feel like more is coming, but it's taking too long. So when we're going into this shift, it's like we can feel this new level coming. Like we can feel like the shift in energy, the shift in mindset, the shift in spirit, the shift in body. We can feel the shift, but it's like it's taking too long. Hurry up. Hurry up, hurry up. I'm ready to shift. I'm ready to go to the next level. I'm ready to see what life brings me. I don't know if I'm the only person that ever felt this way, but I don't think so. Because I go through these at different levels of my life. And so when I started in this shift, I kind of got scared. And I got scared because I remember when I felt this shift a few years ago. I felt this shift of I want more. I want to do more. I want to I'm not I want, but I'm going to have this and I'm going to have that. And I remember I started losing people that I loved. I started losing them, like, people started falling off, they started doing weird stuff. It was like, "Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I thought I was going to another level." So when I started feeling this shift, I started feeling like, "Dang, I'm about to start losing people." And so for a couple of days, I was a little bit, like I was a little sad. Like I was like, I don't know if I want to shift because I'm tired of losing people. I'm tired of, but I had to realize that a lot of times we love people more than they love us. We want people in our life more than they want to be in our life. Sometimes we hold on to things that we should let go of. And then when it's those things start, it's like you have a tight grip on it at first, and then you start losing the grip. We start getting scared of that thing. We start getting scared. And so I found myself getting scared and I said, "Ooh, I gotta get myself together. I gotta meditate. I gotta pray. I gotta figure this thing out." So I started praying and I started saying, you know what? If this is what it is, if I'm about to start losing people or I'm about to start losing things, then that's what it is. That is what it is. And it's not easy to do that. That means that you had to consciously remember through your first shift that you lost some things. So I labeled this podcast Understanding the Shift. Life has levels because life does have levels. And with each level, you're going to lose something. Something is going to dissipate from your life, whether it's something within you or it's something on the outside of you. And that's okay. And that is okay. Sometimes we get stuck in the mindset as if we have to keep everything and everyone in our life. And sometimes they shouldn't have been in our life and we shouldn't have had that thing. So as I'm as I'm getting rid of this thing about losing people because I'm like so nervous because now I know that people are going to start doing weird stuff. People, I'm going to start viewing them and looking at things that they're doing like, wait a minute, that's not love. Wait a minute, you don't really support me. Wait a minute, you were never for me. And when you start realizing stuff like that with people that you love, but they don't really love you, that thing hurts. It's frustrating. You get upset, you get mad, you like, "Wait, now hold on now. Now hold on now, because you said you love me. You said you was gonna be there for me. You said you was my best friend. You said you was my family. You said" No, no. So I started to breathe a little bit when it came to that. I was like, "Okay, I could do this. I know it's gonna hurt. I already been through this before. I got this. I got this. I'm gonna get through it." So after that went away, I started getting nervous again. I was like, "Oh my goodness, a new level?" Oh, because see, I come from an old school church background. So when you say new level, people would say, "New level, new devils." And I said, "Oh, I don't have a fight in me anymore. I just want to be at peace. I just want to live at peace. I just want to be peaceful." That's what I felt, in my mind. I'm saying this to myself. And I'm like, I ain't got time for no new level, new devil. So I don't know if I want to go to this new level. I ain't even scared no more. I just don't know if I want to go. So sometimes when you go to these new levels, there's new things that start happening. There's things that happen in your life that you never been through before, or you never seen before, or you've never encountered before because you're going to a new level. So you're expanding. And when you start to expand, it's like growing pains. Little things in your body start hurting. I don't know how many people listening to this have ever went through any kind of growing pains where it's like you're growing and then it's painful to grow. It hurts. You're telling your mom, my back hurt, my leg hurt, my arm hurt. I have two sons and they tall people. And I remember when they went through growing pains. So they were going to different levels in life bodily and it was hurting. So think about that just in a spiritual sense, in a mental sense. It's hurting because we don't know what to expect at this level. We don't know what to expect in this shift of what's about to happen. We don't know what to expect. We just know, like, I got to go. Because not only do I have a little bit of that fear inside of me, I also have that yearning inside of me that I got to do better. I got to do something different. Yes, I'm okay in life. I'm not gonna say I'm great, but I'm gonna say I'm okay in life. But I gotta do man, wait a minute. And so in these shifts, you're like have like 1,000 thoughts running through your mind, like they're just running. They're literally running through your mind. You don't know what to do, what to say, where to go, who to trust, where to move. Do I need this? Maybe I don't need that. Maybe I need to shift this, and maybe I need to pray for this, and maybe I need to meditate. And it's so many maybes in your head because you just don't know what to expect. Breathe, breathe. Sometimes you gotta and yeah, that's a hard breath. That's literally a hard breath. Or sometimes you just gotta breathe easy and understand that this new level is going to take you to a space that you've never been before, and it's okay. It's okay. It is okay. So when we're understanding these shifts, we start to break down and compartmentalize different things in our life. You have to decide what is for you and what is not for you. And I mean, this is hard because like I said, we want to hold on to things that we should be letting go of. But now you telling me that I have to compartmentalize things. What is good for me and what is not good for me. But this comes into finding out what are these new values that I have? What is this new me that is shifting that I'm shifting into? What is this? What is it that I want? What is it that I'm seeking? What makes me feel good? What makes me feel positive? What is going to help me grow? What is going to help me grow? So when you compartmentalizing, one of the things that I told one of my friends is that I feel like, and I think I posted it on TikTok. Um, I feel like I don't want any distractions this year. And so when I'm talking to my friend earlier, and she's telling me like when you're meditating and you're praying and you're saying like you don't want any distractions around you, make sure you talk about yourself because you can be a distraction. So I said, "Oh, okay." So I don't want any distractions around me. So now I have to form this thicker skin to distractions. Whether it's people, whether it's things, whether it's a procrastination of myself, because I'm a Gemini, big procrastinator. Everything is done at the last moment, but it gets done. It gets done. So I know that I don't want any distractions. But what does the no distractions mean? Does that mean more work and less play? Does that mean no friends? Does that mean no entertainment? What does that mean? I don't want any distractions. So for me, that means everything. That means that sometimes I'm not going to be able to go out when I want to go out. Sometimes I'm not going to be able to be around certain people or certain things. And I've gone through this shift before. I've gone through this big shift before where I changed up everything about my life and I decided I want more. And I cannot get more being around these people. I cannot get more going to these places. I cannot have more. Like, I want more. And some people will say, well, people are never going to be satisfied because you're going to want more and more and more and more and more. But I always tell people if you're doing the same things that you did last year and the year before and the year before, you have not grown. Maybe you have grown in some areas, but you have not grown in all areas. And yes, growth is consistent, which means that it's continuously happening all the time. But I also tell people that when you know better, you do better. We all are born knowing right from wrong and what's good and bad. And we're born knowing this, even though some of us get up into the age and then our mom tells us don't touch the hot stove and we touch it anyway, but we never go back and touch that stove again because we are aware now that that stove is hot. And it's the same thing with life. It's the same exact thing with life. When you start to shift, you start to reflect on last year. You start to reflect on last month. You start to reflect on last week, you start to reflect on yesterday. Although in a lot of my videos, I talk about reflection and I talk about daily reflection, reflecting on what could I have done better today? How could I have moved better? How could I have succeeded better? How could I have done that? You have to reflect on that. You have to keep a journal or keep a video note or keep a voice note or something that allows you to see yourself for who you truly are, especially if you want to understand this shift. If you want to create this new level of life and you want to go to the next level of life. During this process of the shift, you have to think about the cycles of life. You have to think about the cycles of your life. What are some of the cycles that you go through? Whether it is abuse, whether it is picking the wrong partner, whether it is picking the wrong friends, whether it is staying at a job that you're unhappy with, no matter what it is, you have to think about the cycles. What was I doing last year in 2023 that I'm still doing this year in 2024 ending that I need to change for 2025? What was I doing? What were you doing? What in your life do you think you could change for the better that's going to support your growth? This is understanding the shift. Understanding that you don't have to be the same person that you were last year, and it's okay to change and it's okay to shift with the shift. Yes, it's going to be scary. Yes, it's going to be hard, but these are new levels and you can do this. You have the ability to grow. There's a song, makes me think about this song by Shekinah Glory, and the song is Yes. And at the end of the song, the lady says, if I have to give up everything, I will. How many people listening to this right now would give up everything to be who they truly are? How many people do not conform to what the world tells us we are or what the world tells us that we should be doing? How many people right now can honestly say, I'm ready to shift? I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going to go. And that's the Southern in me. I'm going to go. I'm headed to the shift. Deciding that you no longer want to go with the flow, but you want to be intentional about where you're going in life is probably one of the hardest things that you will ever do, because that means that you have to change and that means that everything around you will start to change and shift. But life has levels. Life has levels. Because when you think about it, there may be some things in your life that you shift. And I was in this mood of gratitude and I was thinking to myself, I am thankful for not being this person who I was at 18. I am thankful for not being the person I was at 25. I am thankful and I sit and reflect and I think about how, wait a minute, at 20 I got married. At 23 or 24, we were practically homeless. We didn't have our own space that we lived in. And then I thought, man, I had my son in '07, but during the process of being pregnant with him, I didn't have a place to stay. My husband at the time and I thought about, wow, the year before last, I was at this job, but I wasn't making as much money. And I was okay, but I was still struggling a little bit. I think about stuff like that. I think about stuff like that because I like to reflect on different things because when the shift does happen, that lets me know that there is more to go. And I know nobody wants to hear that. They're like, I don't want to lose nothing else. I don't want to lose nobody else. I don't want to lose anything else. I cannot do that. I get it. I do. because nobody wants to lose and we don't want to give up things. Right now, my struggle is my job. I want to be full time in my business and be able to conduct my business every single day. And it is my intention to do that. And I feel like I'm moving towards that. But sometimes I get a little nervous because I'm like, I can expect this paycheck every other Friday on time, direct deposit into my account without a shadow of a doubt is coming. And me saying, "Ooh, I gotta depend solely on my business." Because sometimes people don't pay me on time, but I still got bills due. I still got a large amount of rent, and I'm still waiting on this blessing of this new house. I still have all these things going on, and I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to leave this job." But it's my intention, right? It's what I'm saying is going to happen. It's what I'm moving towards. So then what is the issue? What is the issue? And the issue is what I said in the beginning. It's the fear. It's the fear of not knowing what happens next. It's the fear of not being able to control what happens next, but just going with the shift because I'm shifting whether I want to or not. I'm shifting. I'm already starting to see life differently. I'm already to start seeing, I'm already seeing people differently. I'm already seeing situations differently. I'm already seeing these things. So, like people say, you can't unsee what you're seeing. That's the gist of it. You cannot unsee what you've seen. So, we're going to go through this shift and we're going to go through this shift together. And we're going to talk about the different cycles and the different moments and the different things that happen during the shift. For a split second, we're just going to take a little break and I'm going to come right back. This is Zip Mouth Motivation. You can follow me on all platforms, Zip Mouth Motivation, TikTok, Instagram, Demasha Katrina, Facebook, Demasha Katrina, or my business page, Zip Mouth Motivation. So let's start with negative cycles. Because during this shift and understanding the levels of life, we have to begin with these negative cycles. So let's define what negative cycles are. Negative cycles are patterns of behavior, thoughts, and situations that come into your life. That's what negative cycles are. It's like things that continuously happen over and over and over again. Procrastination, toxic relationships, um, system cycles like you being on welfare or you not being able to keep a job or something like that. So that's where the negative cycles start. That's what they are. That's what happens. Negative cycles can be just you going in the circle of life over and over again, doing the same thing. Like I said, if you're doing the same thing that you did last year, you're in a cycle. If nothing has changed in your situation slightly, you are in a cycle. So sometimes it's hard to recognize these cycles. You think like, okay, I'm just living life. And I was talking to one of my friends the other day and we were talking about saying I'm just going with the flow. And so I used to be big on saying like I'm just going with the flow. I'm just going with the flow of life. Until one day I thought about like what the heck is the flow? What is the flow of like what flow am I going with? And whose flow am I going with? Which mean like I'm not being my solid self. Which means that whatever somebody else is doing or whatever is happening in somebody else's life, I'm just going with it. I was like, "Oh, no, absolutely not. I'm not going with the flow anymore." Because when you think about going with the flow, you don't wanna go with the flow. You wanna be able to make a sound decision on who you are, what you value, what's important to you, what are your non-negotiables? What are things that I'm just not gonna do that. I don't care about how anybody feels about it. I'm just not going to do that. When you're going through the cycles, it's kind of like you're living in a repeat movie. You just keep rewinding and rewinding the same parts, dealing with the same people, doing the same things over and over and over and over again. And you're not growing. Slowly, I think about relationship cycles because this is relationship cycles was one of my biggest cycles. I found myself dating the same kind of people over and over again. Like each one of them had some kind of similarity to them. So then when I started dating and I realized that I've been going in a cycle, I started to look back at all of the people that I dated and I was like, I was going in a cycle in relationships. So now I got to start asking these questions in the beginning. Are you abusive? Do you take care of your children? Do you keep a job? How long have you been at your job? What is your next level in life? And so as I grow, the questions get more deep. And yours will too. So you start noticing that I feel frustrated, I feel stuck, or I remember one time feeling like I was just hitting, like just hitting a freaking brick wall. It was like I felt like I had everything that I needed in life, or I had everything that I wanted in life, but I was hitting this brick wall, but I was still wanting more. I was still feeling helpless. I was still feeling like this cannot be the end. Like there has to be more for me. And I remember feeling that way. And then I started blaming like external things because sometimes when we're going in these cycles, we'll start blaming external things. We'll start blaming family. We'll start blaming our mama didn't raise us right. And we'll start blaming it's the fact that this job don't pay me enough. And we'll start blaming it's the fact that my auntie talked to me this way. And we'll start blaming on it's the man keep keeping us down and holding us. Listen, everything that you have or everything that you want or everything that you need is within yourself. If you're hitting that brick wall, you're hitting that brick wall because of you. Nobody's making you hit that brick wall. You are hitting that brick wall because of you. So you have to decide when you're tired of hitting this brick wall, when you're tired of going in these never ending cycles of life. So you have to start recognizing them. And when I say recognizing them, I mean like you have to sit down and you have to do some daily reflection, weekly reflection. You have to start being more conscious of who you're around, where you're going, what you're doing, what you're saying, your attitude in different stuff, your behaviors. What are your thoughts on a day-to-day basis? And that's how you start recognizing the cycles in your life. What every year at the same time of year, something happens. I'll say every year at the same time of year in December, my mom always gets sick. Right before Christmas, she always has to go to the hospital. And I told her last year, I said, baby girl, we're not doing this no more. This is a cycle. We are not doing this no more. Whatever you whatever you thinking about right before Christmas, we not doing it no more. We gonna stop this cycle because we can't have you going through um this cycle over and over again. Some other ways to identify and break free from your cycle is identifying your triggers. What are you feeling when you're going through these cycles? This is part of the shift. Because when you start shift, you start warring between yourself. I want to stay the same. I want to change. I want to stay the same. I want to change. Ooh, changing is hard. I'm scared to change. I don't know what the next level is. So you start warring with yourself. So start identifying what is triggering you to feel the way you feel. What is it that you believe? What's important to you? Shift the patterns. Instead of going with the flow, going within the cycle, shift it, do something different. You can say to yourself, every year during the summertime, I feel depressed. Why? Ask yourself, what makes me depressed every month in June? What makes me walk off a job every 6 months or every 2 months? What makes me accept abuse from a relationship? Ask yourself those questions. A lot of times we'll say seek support, but sometimes it's hard to speak to someone about your cycles because you're embarrassed. You don't like the cycles just as much as as much as they're happening. So you get embarrassed. So if you feel like I cannot talk to nobody about this, I'm going to be embarrassed. I'm going to feel some type of way if someone knows that this is a cycle that I'm going through. Then you have to be able to handle it until you're able to speak to someone. So after you identify the different cycles that's happening in your life and you become more conscious of the cycles that are happening in your life, then you start to change them. Then you start to say, I don't want to have these negative thoughts anymore. Let me shift my thoughts to something more positive. And no, this doesn't happen overnight. And no, it's not easy to do this. But this is part of understanding the shift and the different levels of life. During the shift, you're also going to feel like a disruption or an awakening of some sort. And I know some people like, oh, now you're talking about awakening, you're talking about spiritual stuff. I'm talking about life because you start to, like I said before in the beginning, I said, I started to look at people differently. I started to look at the things that they did differently because I'm like, wait a minute, that's not love. That's not love. That's not respect. That's a none, absolutely none of the above. It has nothing to do with anything that I value, anything that I find to be true. It doesn't line up. And I know people will say, well, opposites attract. Mm, very true. Opposites do attract, but you got to watch how opposite they are. So when you feel this disruption or this awakening, you'll start feeling like, wait, no, this ain't right. No, I don't like that. I can think back to getting divorced and I remember I discovered like after my divorce, I don't like TV. I'm not a person that can sit and watch TV all day. I'm not a person that can sit and watch TV for more than an hour without feeling like I'm bored or I need to be doing something else. You'll start feeling confused. You might even start feeling a little bit of anxiety. It's all normal. You could be feeling like grief, like you lost someone. You could be feeling like I'm losing myself. And I remember time after time after time feeling like I'm losing myself. Just recently, I felt like I was losing myself, not realizing that, wait, I'm going through a shift. I'm going through something different. You'll definitely start to feel this sense of, I need to grow. I need to do more. I need to do better. I can do better. I will do better. I'm going to this next level. You'll start feeling like discomfort or resistance to change. A lot of us have like this resistance to change because change is hard. Change is I'm no longer can be the same person that I was last year. But it's all I know. This is all I know. These people are all I know. I don't know anything else. I don't know anybody else. So how am I about to change? No, I can't change. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Because if I have to give up my best friend, Joe Blow, my life ain't gonna be the same. Joe Blow done did so much in my life, but wait a minute, but Joe Blow ain't trying to grow. Joe Blow ain't thinking about going to the next level. Joe Blow want to keep you stuck in the same situations, doing the same things that you were doing last year, the year before, and the year after. Sometimes you feel like you walking in between 2 worlds, like you one person here, but then you another person here, and you start questioning like, "Who am I? Who am I?" And you wanna know who you are, but it's like on one hand, I got to be this person, on the other hand, I want to be this person. So you have to make a choice. You have to decide, am I gonna go with the shift or am I gonna show resistance towards the shift? And it's up to you. I'm not telling you to go right or left. I'm telling you this is what happened. This is what happens during the levels of life. You might feel a little vulnerable. You might feel like sad, or you might feel like I'm crying, or I'm in the midst of a depression or something like that. And that's okay. It's all normal feelings. A lot of times you might feel like it's easier just to be who I've already been. It's easier just to take the role of being easy and just being consistent and being who I already been. I don't need to change. I just need to stay the same. I have this saying where I say, you can't tell grown people nothing because grown people think they know everything. And it's the absolute truth. It's hard to see stuff in people and then people tell you, well, you need to change that because we feel like we know everything about us and that nobody can tell us about us. And no, it's not the truth. It's not the truth. Sometimes people see things about you that you're not ready to deal with. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes people see things about you that you're not ready to deal with. And that's the honesty of it. Sometimes people will see a change in you or something that needs to change in you that you just feel like I don't know how to change this. I'm not ready to change this. I'm not ready to grow. I'm not ready to go to the next level. I'm not ready to see myself as this because if I change, that means I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose people. I'm going to lose places. I'm going to lose everything that feels normal to me. Those are all normal feelings. It's all normal. Nothing about those feelings are wanting to retreat and go backwards and not go with the shift. Nothing about that is unnormal. It's hard sometimes being a person that is on a journey, on a journey of life, on a journey of growth, on a journey of change, because you run into people and you have people in your life who feel like, oh, no, 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 I couldn't do that. I couldn't change. I got to stay the same. I got to move into the same neighborhood that my mother raised me in and live in the same house, and I got to have the same friends I had since I don't know, because these are people I know and I'm comfortable with them. But during this shift, during these life levels, you have to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Because if you're comfortable, then that means you saying to yourself, I no longer want to grow. I no longer want to go to the next level. I no longer want to do XYZ WP thing. And that's okay too, because you have a choice. But if your choice is to remain the same, I just ask the question of what makes you want to remain the same? What makes you not want to go to the next level? What makes you not want to shift? Where does the resistance come from? And if you say the resistance comes from fear and comfortability, absolutely not. We, the people, have become so conformed or so willing to go with the normal flow or what we feel is the normal flow that we all starting to look alike. We all starting to act alike. We all starting to talk alike. I saw this quote one time that said, It said the 1% of the world has decided to grow, to change their life, to be successful, to try harder, to move better. And I thought about that thing like, dang, only 1%. So what is the rest of us doing that we are not included in this 1%? Why are we choosing to remain the same? What is happening in our life that we are so attached to the negative cycles, the negative thoughts, the negative mindsets, the negative places? What is happening in our life? I had one of my friends come visit me during the summer. And when she came, she got to see a part of me that she doesn't normally get to see. She got to see a part of me she doesn't normally get to see. And so she got to see the part of me where most of the time I'm working and I'm probably like sitting at my desk and I'm doing something on the computer or one of the computers, or I'm doing something on my phone. And I don't think that part bothered her. And I don't think anything about what I was doing bothered her. But she said to me, she said, now I understand how you stay so positive all the time. She said, because you literally sit here and you listen to uplifting, music all day, or you're listening to YouTube motivational videos, or you are reading something that is motivational. She said, that's how you stay positive. And I told her exactly. That's how I changed the way that I think. That's how I changed the way that I move. That's how I changed the way that I respond to people. What you put in comes out. So if you're telling me today that I want to remain the same, I don't want to change, okay, I give up. But understand that although you don't want to change and that you're deciding to go backwards or stay the same, understand that there's still going to be some resistance. There's still going to be a war within your body because, see, the body wants to elevate, the mind wants to elevate, the spirit wants to elevate, but you want to stay the same. So now you're in a battle. And a lot of times, this is where the depression comes from. This is where anxiety comes from. This is where anger comes from. Because deep down inside, I want to be different, but I'm afraid. Deep down inside, I want to be different, but I don't know what's at that next level. So I'm scared to go to the next level. Deep down inside, I want to be different, but if I do be different, then my brother and my sister and my cousins and my best friends and all of them, they're going to think that I'm acting funny, or they're gonna think so many things about me, and they're not gonna want to be around me anymore, and I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose. But what are you really losing? What are you really losing? Because sometimes a loss is not a loss. Sometimes a loss is a win. And we're gonna take our wins, right? We are definitely going to take our wins. So today, you have a decision. You can go with the shift or you can battle the shift. You can decide, I'm going to transition my life in a way that when I close my eyes and I imagine who I am and what I have and where I'm going to be that person. It's no longer going to be an imagination, it's going to be in a reality. And I don't know how many times in life that you will shift, but I'm telling you that you're going to shift. It's going to happen. It's an inevitable. Whether you want to shift or you don't want to shift, you are going to shift. You are going to get to a phase in your life to where this is not enough. This is not what I want to be involved in. This is not how I wanted my life to be. I want more. I have to have more. I'm going to get more. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that when you make the decision that this is where you're going, that it's going to be a smooth ride, because everything from friends, family, jobs, people, situations, relationships, distractions, everything is going to try to pull you back to that old person, but you cannot go. You have to fight. You are going to come into a space where it's going to be so lonely that you're going to be in your house and you can hear a pin drop. Because when you start shifting, you start losing people, you start losing the interest of things, you start losing. But it's not a loss. It's not a bad loss. It's a powerful loss. It's a loss of going to the next level and deciding that I can't do that with y'all no more. I can't do like me telling you all that I decided one thing about me is I don't want any distractions and I don't want to distract myself. So that means I have to be more conscious. That means that I have to live with intentions and I'm no longer going with the flow. Now I'm going with the intention of this is where I'm going. I know what I value. I know what I find to be true. And if things don't line up with that, I don't know what to tell them because I'm not going to go backwards. Once you take that first step forward, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Everybody has an expectation for you and who you are and what you want to do, but sometimes you have to shut out all that noise and you have to get deep down inside of yourself and you have to get to know yourself so good that absolutely nobody can tell you who you are because you know who you are, you know what you're doing, you know where you're going, you know the direction that you're headed into, and you are loving on yourself because growth is love. Whether people want to admit it or not, growth is love. If you're deciding that today I want to grow, you're deciding that today I want to love myself, and that is powerful because probably about 80 to 90% of this world do not love themselves. People do not love themselves enough to say, I'm going to exchange the betterment of myself for me going out to a club. People do not know how to do that now. And today you have an opportunity to decide what it is that you want to do, where you want to go, how you want to live. Like you have an opportunity to decide. There are so many different levels to life. And I'm not telling you that this will be your last shift, but I'm telling you that the shift is happening. I'm telling you that there are definitely levels to life because you're not the same person you were when you were 16. The shift is happening. And it's 100% time for us to fight and shift with it. Some very important things to get inside your head and to really remember about life changes, life's levels is acceptance. Accepting that I can do this. You know what? I, I really can do this. I say this thing sometimes is that I say success begot success. Once you see that you can do one thing successfully, you become addicted to success. Because you'll do that one thing and then you do that two thing, and oh boy, don't let it be that three thing. Because once you see that I can be successful, I can do this, oh, it's on and popping. It's on and popping. Once you realize or you become more conscious of who and what the distractions are in your life, you start to break away anyway. Once you start to look at people and you start to realize from loving yourself what love is, you won't allow people to show you anything less. I always tell people, especially people that go through a lot of stuff, I always tell them that, you know what, sometimes you're too nice. Sometimes you have to be bold enough to stand up for yourself. You have to be bold enough to say what it is that you feel and what it is that you think. And during this shift, you definitely have to be bold. Because you have to be bold enough to tell people, like, I can't talk to you today. You have to be bold enough to tell people, I don't think I'm going to be going there anymore. You have to be bold enough to say that what is important to me and what are my non-negotiables, and I'm not let anybody come through and break this like it's red tape. Because this is the position that I'm taking and this is where I'm going. I don't know what it is that you truly want to do because only you know that. The only thing that I can do is support you in heading in that direction. And understanding this shift and realizing that life has levels. And be gentle with yourself in these levels. Because you know what? You might fall. You might backtrack a little bit. But when you consciously think about it, I want you to say, you know what? I did go backwards. Be honest with yourself. But I ain't finna stay here. I'm going. Yes, you went 10 spaces, then you went back 10 spaces. Now you got to go 20, but you really don't have to go 20. You got to go 30 because you got to succeed the place where you left off at. I always say that when people tell me that they want to go backwards and they want to do something that they were doing a long time ago because going this new way is too hard. I always say, so you mean to tell me you're gonna go 10 spaces and then you're gonna go 10 spaces back and you think you only gonna go 10 spaces? Oh no, 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 no. We're not starting over. We're not starting over. We starting where we finished at. So if you decide I'm gonna take this journey, I'm about to take this walk, and you fall, get back to the space where you were and then go further because we're not starting over. Because when you start starting over something, you have to keep repeating things over and over again. Now you're putting yourself in a cycle. You're putting yourself in a cycle. So you have the ability today, right now, at this moment, to decide that I want to go higher. I want to do something different. I want to have something different. I need the ability to grow and to be who I am. I don't want to allow people to control or dictate who I am. I want to change. My whole desire is to be better than I was last year, to move different than what I moved last year. I want to meet new people. I don't want to be around the same people year after year after year. I remember being in like elementary school and them singing songs like "Make new friends, but keep the old ones. One is silver and the other is gold." And we've come into this space to where we don't even know if we can trust our friends. What are we doing? What direction is our lives going into? What direction is this world going into? Even with the shift, you have to ask yourself, what do I want to put into the world? What am I contributing to the world? Am I a menace? Am I a confuser? Am I confused? So you have to decide. You have to decide. Monday, you may wake up with a ready mind and you might be ready to go and you might be excited and you might say, you know what? I'm going to the next level. Tuesday, you may wake up and you be like, I can't go to the next level. I just can't do this. Wednesday, you need to get up and you need to continue the race. You need to continue the race to the next level. You have so much work to do at this next level. But not only do you have work to do, you have so many gifts waiting for you at this next level. So you mean to tell me you're going to let somebody talk you out of this next level? You're going to let people, places, and things dictate your next level in life? I don't think so. I don't think so. My goal in life is to see people successful. So I decided that why not be a mindset coach? Why don't you help people shift their mind into this next space? Because it's not easy. And you cannot do it by yourself. You have to have a partner, accountability partner. You have to have somebody that you're talking to that you can trust. In the beginning, yeah, it might seem a little easy. It might seem like, oh, I can really do this. I can really do this. But what about those times when you get frustrated and there's nobody around to talk to? There's nobody around to express to you that, hey, you can do this. You can do this. Listen to your videos, motivational quotes in the morning time. Listen to the different podcasts around. Just listen. Get those things so down in your soul that nobody can tell you anything. Absolutely nothing. Open your mind, open your heart. Accept who you are. Not who everybody wants you to be, but who you are. And that's important. Learn who you are. So you don't have to feel like, oh, I don't want nobody telling me nothing because I'm grown. Because grown people know everything and you can't tell grown people nothing. You got it today. To decide what your shift is. You got it today to stop resisting. You got it today to grow. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all for listening. I appreciate you all for shifting. I appreciate you all for just the gratitude. The gratitude of being who you are, unapologetic, moving in the way that you need to move, and allowing doors to open for you in this new shift. My prayer is that you see yourself in a higher self matter. See yourself that way. See yourself higher, in a better position, doing what it is you love to do. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. My name is Zip Mouth Motivation. You can follow me on Instagram, Demasha K, Facebook, Demasha K, or Zip Mouth Motivation. I also have a private group. You can listen to my podcast on 101.5 Apple Podcast, StreamYard. You can listen to my podcast on iHeartRadio, just about every platform. I love y'all. Good night.